Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Mobby TCG, and we have more Dragon Ball Super Fusion World today. I'm going to be giving you my original deck list for the Son Goku for the newly released FB02 set coming out. So, I'll be talking about the gameplay, the strengths, the weaknesses. You can always look at the deck list in the description if you want to copy all of that, plus any other games that we play, One Piece, Grand Archive, etc. So, let's first talk about the leader. This is a mono red leader with 15,000 power, Saiyan Universe 7, Tournament of Power. When attacking, draw a card. Awaken at 3 life, drawing a card. Now this is super important. This is not normal. Awakening at 3 life. So you're really close to death before you do. Here's the awakened state. It has 20,000, also super important. You don't start at 25 at all. When attacking, you still draw a card. So both sides you draw a card. And this is the effect. Main, once per turn, discard 1 card and resting 1 energy. Play up to 1 battle card with 20,000 power or less and tournament of power in its special trait from your hand. So, the overall gameplay of this leader is to awaken as soon as possible, whether you just take hits or you use one of the many self-awakenings in this deck, and then you want to rush the board and get strong with a lot of your minions that kind of work with this archetype. So let's begin by going from 1 to the highest energy we have and then the events afterwards. So let's talk about the 1 cost in here. This is a new card from FB02 called Basil. This is a 1/5/5. On play, look at the top 5 cards, non-Basil, 4 or lower, Tournament of Power. So this is a potentially Surgery card. Very strong, very powerful. If you are running any sort of Tournament of Power synergy, let's say you have at least 15 plus different types of Tournament of Power in your deck at all, you definitely want to run these because you play it on the board and then at the very worst you miss, but it's still at least a 5,000 here. But yeah, you want to run 4 of these. Really good, very powerful for the archetype. Another red staple, this is the Master Roshi from the FB01 sets. 1/5/10,000, so very good a follow-up combo. Activate once per turn. Add 1 card from your life to your hand. During this turn, the next time you use an extra, reduce the cost by 1 red. Even if you don't use his ability to use any sort of event reduction, the fact that you use it once per turn and you don't even need to attack with it makes this super essential and valuable for any red deck that wants to self-awaken as soon as possible, aka rush decks, right? Rush and swarm decks. So you absolutely 100% need to run 4 of these if you're trying to awaken, because it's a straight super counter later. Yeah, I say super, but like, you know, a really good counter, but once per turn you can add some stuff. So that's really good. Those are the 1 cost. And here we are. Now for the 2 costs. Here is a new FB02 character, Caulifla, 225. Critical, which is completely fine. However, on play, add up to 1 card from your life to your hand. So yet, it's another self-awakening card. It's a Tournament of Power card, so it can be searched. And also, it's a 20k less, so it can be summoned by your leader ability. It's a pretty normal, safe card. The fact that it's a 2 cost makes it so, you know, you can play it pretty early, and you can see how your opponent plays if you attack, and, you know, when you use critical, it's alright. Absolutely run 4. And a lot of these are going to be 4 costs, mostly 4 for consistency. So, Caulifla. Next up is Hits. This is not a FB02 card, but rather just an FB01 card. 225. When attacking, add up to 1 card from your life to your hand, then choose up to 1 opponent's battle cards and gets -5,000. The effect is fine, -5,000, but once again, it's yet another self-awakening card. So you're going to be adding up to 1 card from your life, and if your opponent does not get rid of it, you're going to keep attacking with it, and you get to keep adding stuff to your life. So let's say you miss on the Master Roshis. If you can at least find some hits or Master Roshis, then hey, that's really nice. So we're in 2 of these, and these are your 2 costs. Now for the 3 costs. This is the new Android 17 from FB02. 3, 25, 0 counter, and for good reason. The ability is powerful as all hell. Per minute, your leader with Universe 7 in its traits gets 5,000 power. So as long as you have this on the field, this is sort of like your win condition for this particular deck. It's not necessary, to win, but it's super nice if you can get 1 or 2 on the board for the whole game. Because yeah, you're gonna be +5, and the fact that your leader only gets up to 20k, even though you awaken at 3, makes it super dangerous. But with him, it's really nice. And if your leader is awakened, once you get that awaken bonus, this card cannot be KO'd by skills from battle cards. Now, it can still be removed, returned to your hand, or bottom deck with other stuff, but for the most part, it's pretty good. So even if it's rested, the only thing you have to worry about is KO by battle. So you gotta be really, really really scared about that. But this is so good. These are only like maybe one of a small handful of dead cards. By dead cards, I mean counter cards. But yeah, like you want these in your deck. Run 4 of these. Next up, this is a Kefla from FB02, 3/20/10. Really good counter. On play, if your leader is awakened, draw a card. Now, this card, though it is Tournament of Power, it can be summoned using the Basil. It can be searched using the Basil, right? Yeah. 4 or less. Yeah, anything 4 or less can be searched by Basil. However, it cannot be summoned by your leader ability. So even though this thing combos really well, it's a little too powerful. This thing can only do a max of 20k. This is 25. All right, so where were we? That's right, the Keflas. Yeah, so if you're able to summon this when your leader's awakened, you get another draw, which is amazing. Saiyan, Universe 6, Potara, and Tournament of Power, once again. So Basil plus your leader ability. Run 4 of these. Anything that you can draw, it's really good. Okay. Next up, Son Gohan Adolescence, another FB02 card, 3/25, Tournament of Power. So once again, Basil Searcher and your leader summon. Permanent, your turn. If leader is awakened, this card will be 25. Then when attacking, you can put up to 1 to your life. So if somehow you haven't awakened by then, you didn't get your Master Roshi's, hits, your Android 17s, I guess Gohan will help you go up. But then you get to choose one of your opponent's characters to get -15. This is pretty good for KOing really low cost, like really low power defenses, or just maybe trying to destroy a card in general. Really good. It's very good in general because you can summon it. Good stuff. Really good stuff. All right, so those are your 3 costs. Let's move on to the 4 costs. This is primarily going to be your endgame winners. However, keep in mind that this is going to be a Swarm Rush deck. You want to, once again, hit 3 and then summon as many things as possible using your leader. Alright, so this is Kefla. This is a 4/20/10. Can be searched with Basil and can be summoned by your leader. And very strong counter. Permanent. If your leader is awakened, this thing goes up to 25. On play, draw 1 card. Doesn't have to be awakened for that. Then play up to 1 battle card with 3 or less in special traits from your hand. So if somehow you just can't get out your Android 17, you could use Kefla and freaking throw him out there. Very strong, very powerful. This is so good. This is so good. All right. Next up, it's going to be Kakensa, another FB02 character, 4/20/10, searchable, and can summon from your leader. Good counter. Main. Once per turn, switch this character to active, then it gets -5,000 for the turn. At the very at the very minimum, it's gonna be 20 into somebody and then 15 into somebody. But as you see later with some of the events that we have here, this thing could be an absolutely game-changing win condition. All right, so we're running a couple of these. Then finally, for your final attackers, we got 4 Ribianes. 4/20/10, so searchable, summonable, and good counter, double strike. So there you go. So it's not crazy on its own. It does pose a threat. That means your opponent will want to use a lot of resources to get rid of it because the double attack. And just like this Kakunse, this technically is a double attack, but you can switch out to 2 different targets. This thing is a double attack to life, but we'll talk about the events right here. And I guess we'll just talk about the supers here. So this is the Ribiane Supers Tournament of Power. So it really doesn't matter if you I think right now there's not a lot of crazy good red. This is Tournament of Power, but it's not searchable. This thing could only grab a 4 cost, your Basils, but it's still nice to have it in there for, sort of, I mean, you're never going to use this in a battle, but it's good for synergy, concept ideas. Anyway, running forward these. Now for the final stuff, the event. So we're running 6 events here. We'll start off with this one, another FB02 one. This is a rare event. Activate using 1 mana in a battle only on your opponent's turn. One of your leader or characters gets 20k for 1 mana. It's pretty good. Then, if it's a battle card, it can't be KO'd in battle for their turn. This is actually pretty good too. So very, very strong for the amount of mana that you're using for it. Next up, Glimpse of a Hidden Arrogance. Another new FB02 card. It's a common one. 2 mana. Activate battle, so yours or your opponent's turn. Choose your leader or up to one of your other cards, it gets 25,000. Then, if you have a battle card with 30,000 power or more, which means you cannot use this on your leader unless you already have a 30k on the field to get this effect, add up to 1 battle card with the cost of 4 or less from your drop to your hand. And there is a ton of good cards to grab from your hand. A ton of, almost everything here can be grabbed. So yeah, it's pretty okay. And then finally, the last card of the deck, Clash of the Strongest, 2 cost, common, activate the main only, choose all of your battle cards with Tournament of Power, and they get 10,000 for the turn. So we already talked about how some of these cards benefit really well from having extra power-ups. So best case scenario, you know, very realistically, you can get a Ribrianne, and you can get a Kakunsa. Then you're able to activate this. You attack 30k into anything, you put it back up, and then you attack 20 into something else, you know. So something like that. So this leader is fun. I like it a lot. The strengths is that with this package, you are awakening super crazy fast. You're drawing on attacking on both the regular and the awakened side. And it might seem like a hefty cost to discard a card to play something, but once you're awakening super fast, you could have upwards of, you know, 7 to 11 cards in your hand at a time before this. So really, discarding an extra card here doesn't really matter. You're going to be able to rush and go crazy, and if you can get at least one of your Android 17s out to protect you, it's going to be really strong. Really, really, really strong. So the overall weakness is, yeah, this thing is a glass cannon. If you do hit 3, you can summon, great. But then you're not at 25 like a Broly who summons at 3, or the new Zamasu Fuse that also summons at 3. So you're playing a really dangerous game, especially if your opponent saves up all their counters, their double attacks, and they go for the kill as soon as they are. But once again, you're going nuts too. So I really like it a lot, and I hope you guys enjoy this. We'll go ahead and redo the deck once the new cards come out. Maybe, you know, FB03, we can come back and redo the leader. But for now, this is what I'm running, and I hope you guys enjoy. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you next time. Bye.